Welcome to Sportingbet.com TV, and there's only 5 weeks to go until the beginning of the Cheltenham Festival. Mick Fitzgerald, our horse racing ambassador, will shortly be running us through all of the big picks for the major races, and will also be pinpointing some value on the big accumulators we've got here available at Sportingbet. So Mick, thanks for joining us again. We're only 5 weeks away to the festival now. Obviously Sportingbet, this is a very exciting time. You're going to be there every day. I'm sure many of the viewers here of these videos will be looking forward to see at the festival. But in terms of of your thoughts now, just over a month to go, how do you see it panning out?
It's amazing how the picture is still a little bit unclear, but it's not as unclear as it was a couple of weeks ago. Hurrican Fly, we've seen him come out and win very impressively. Even surprised his trainer Willie Mullins and jockey Ruby Walsh. He's a star, and it's great to see him back. He'll be very hard to beat on the first day. Then we move on to the Wednesday. We've got the Sportingbet Champion Chase, size in Europe. Again, imperious in winning at the weekend, trashing a former winner of the race in Big Zeb. And then you move on to the rest of the big races. You've got a big bucks. Can anybody see him getting beat? Again, he's getting another step towards that record. And then, of course, we've got Coavega, another Willie Mullins, hot pot. And there's lots of specials going around as well. Willie Mullins, will he be top trainer? Paul Nicholls, Nicky Henderson, got long run then in the Gold Cup to cap things off. Are they all going to win? Something tells you, history tells you, they can't all win, but it'll be a brave bookie sitting there with his satchel open taking bets on him.
Well, listen, let's take a look at those main 4 championship races and maybe some of the bets that float around with that. As I said, we're going to be in a position this year, Sportingbet, we're going to be taking on these big 4. We've really set our stall out, and I know you think that's probably madness in many ways. But let's just start off with Hurrican Flying. We're 5 to 6 at the moment. That's the biggest price in the industry right now. This was a pretty imperious performance, wasn't it, when we've re-seen him? And obviously to defend his title, that's a short price. But we've got the likes of Zarkanda in there behind him. I mean, is there anything that you can see at this stage that maybe can take this Mullins hot pot on and beat him?
I think again you've just got to look at those juveniles. Look at Zarkanda, Triumph Hurdle winner last year. He's a horse I think could be progressive. Of course, his half sister Zarkava was a super filly. Again, got better with age. And then look at Grand Douai. Grand Douai for me I think is the interesting one. He could still be a little bit of value. So I think he's 7 to 1 with us. The thing is with him, he was placed into Triumph when he travelled like the winner turning for home. That was on the new course. The Champion Hurdle is on the Tuesday on the old course. It's a much easier track, much easier trip for this fella. And maybe he could just represent a little bit of sneaky value if you fancy a bit of an each way. But I think Hurricane Fly, it's going to be very hard to look past him.
So Mick, moving on to Wednesday, of course it is the big race for us, the Sportingbet.com Queen Mother Champion Chase, size in Europe. A tremendous winner of the race last year. We went immediately after the race last year, 8 to 1. Gemma Crick and Tanya shouting that out on Channel 4. As we sit here right now, we're 5 to 4. We're in a poor position, I have to say that. And that's mainly because size in Europe has just been terrific in the last 2 runs, obviously in the Sportingbet Tingle Creek Chase, and then in Ireland dismantling the second favourite Big Zeb. So 5 to 4 at the moment. How do you see that? I mean, he looks like a superstar to me, but 2 Mile Chase, anything can happen surely.
Repeat offender. I keep banging on about this every year. I keep saying horses that have good form at Cheltenham, you've got to follow them. Size in Europe last year, he was a bit of value coming into the race. They'd been campaigning him over a lot further than this 2 miles. This year they've realised this is his distance, and he's been unbeatable since he's gone back to 2 miles. Of course, we gave away money to anybody who backed the second that finished second to him in that Sportingbet Tingle Creek Chase at Sandown. And again, the Sportingbet.com Champion Chase looks his for the taking, I'm afraid.
And Finion's Rainbow, do we give that horse? Obviously it's a yard that's so close to you. Is that the kind of horse that maybe takes the crown off the current champ?
I think he's one that could just represent a little bit of each way value in the race. But again, it's very hard to look past size in Europe. He's a horse who loves it round Cheltenham. Great young trainer as well in Henry de Bromhead, a man that I've got a lot of time for. And I think this one could be a big loser for Sportingbet. Okay,
again, not what we want to hear. But let's move on to Thursday now. And of course, it's all about big books. I mean, we're 4 to 7 at the moment. That again is the best price in the industry. I have to say we have taken this horse on pretty much all the way through at the moment. There were signs of a potential chink in the armour at Cheltenham last time, but again, the sheer power of this machine just drove him up that hill. Again, are we ever going to see this tank empty with big bucks, or 4 to 7 is it banker material again?
Well, the only chance we've got is, are we going to see big bucks flying, or are we going to get drunk? Drunk as in Oscar whiskey. Because he, for me, is the one horse that could upset the party. He's the horse that represents a bit of value. I think looking at him there, you're 9-2.
Yeah.
That could just be a little bit of a steal, because for me, he's not been tried over this trip. Every time he stepped up in trip, he's looked even better than he has over the minimum of 2 miles. For me, I think he's the one that could upset him. He's going to get beat one day, big bucks. And I think if he's going to get beat, Oscar Whiskey could be the horse to do it.
That's interesting as well. So Gold Cup Day, long run the defending champ, 2-1 at the moment. I have to say that's not the best price in the industry this time. We haven't really gone after the horse. We have gone after Corto Stardo here with 21-5. It's 7-2, 4-1 with every other firm. So we're seeing a lot of money for the horse, but we're saying, Mick, it's not going to be Corto's year here. How do you see this going? And again, what's the health and well-being of Long Run at the moment?
I think the trainer's happy with him. He's a horse that he seems to thrive over that 3.25 miles around Cheltenham, and that's the number one thing you've got to remember. If you rewind the tape back and look at the King George again, he was staying on really well. He only got beaten a length and a half when it looked like he was going to be trounced going to the second last. Kodo Star, he's a great performer. It's great to see him back on the big stage again. And who would rule against him when? If he won, it would be a great day for racing. You'd see hats in the air, but for me, I think Long Run, reigning champion, he's got it all to do, but I think he's trained by the right man to do it.
Fair enough as well. So 20-1 is available now for all of those champions to defend their crowns this year, Mick. That's the biggest price you'll find anywhere in the business, as I mentioned. Lots of people already taking advantage of that kind of price. People even who work in the industry, I think, are using it to probably hedge their bonuses, to tell you the truth, Mick. So it's a big price. I mean, it could definitely happen. If there was one out of the 4, you could say we might have a chance of getting turned over. Which one would it be at this stage, do you think?
Believe it or not, the shortest price of the whole lot, really. I just think that big bucks, he could be the dodgy one.
Fair enough as well. And we've got one other treble I should point out as well. The Bankers treble, which are the 3 odds on pokes this year. Mick, Hurrican Fly is obviously 5-6. Corvega's trading around about even money at the moment. And of course we've got big bucks as well in there, 4-7. It's 9-2 for the treble there. Again, I suppose you're saying that maybe big bucks is slightly vulnerable, but Corvega, we haven't mentioned that as one of the championship races. Is that another horse that really is going to be hard to beat?
Very hard to beat. I just think that so many ifs and buts about a lot of these horses, and if you're a punter, you've got to stand by your judgment and take a punt on something like this. Also, if you fancy these horses to win, you've got to follow your judgment. I think you've got to look for horses that have got repeat offenders. I call them repeat offenders. Horses that do well time of year at the festival. You've got to follow them.
So there you have it. There's Mick's early thoughts. We've got 5 weeks to go now until the festival. Some great prices available on the site. Please check it out. We've got the microsite there, the road to Cheltenham. All of the information will be there. You'll be hearing a lot more of Mick now. We're going to start ramping this up now as we head to the start of the festival. Check out all the prices now at Sportingbet. And Mick, we'll see you soon.